But in the meantime, our next guest is a former devout Muslim from Saudi Arabia who had once set out to train for jihad. Center for Islamic Research and Awareness International founder and CEO Fadi joins us now. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. You're seeing these recent developments, the recognition of American withdrawal and retreat in Kabul. And we're hearing a lot of reports of, whether it's Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Haqqani, the confluence of them, ISIS-K as well. What is the mindset of groups like that as America is leaving the battlefield?
Well, thank you, Pete. It's an excellent question. Here is the mindset. And back in the 1979, the Soviets invaded, and at the end of the 80s, they withdrew, and the Afghanis were celebrating that they have defeated one of the great powers of the world. Now, they are going to say exactly the same thing, that they have defeated the second superpower. Therefore, they become now the aspiration for many young men who would like to go and fight for a cause or an ideology, unfortunately, that we cannot change. Even though there is a minority, obviously, of Muslims that adhere to this extreme form of jihad, nevertheless, it takes only few of them. It took 19 hijackers to cause 9/11. It took less than 100,000 with ISIS back in Syria to cause all the havoc in the world. So that's the mindset. And the problem that we're having right now, we're not dealing with one group, as you accurately stated it. There's multiple groups now, and all of them going to collaborate because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and they're going to work together, and then they're going to start butchering each other. So we are leaving a mess behind, unfortunately.
Not to mention any citizens left behind or former allies as well. I have to ask you about this current crop, whatever title they go by. You mentioned the Soviets. They fought the Mujahideen. You mentioned our invasion after what happened after 9/11, fighting the Taliban. How does this crop differ? The recent jihadis, are they more radical than their forefathers?
No, they're not, but they are more equipped, more trained, more experienced now. They've learned from past lessons, and now they know how to at least deal with us and deal with others in a very sophisticated way. After all, Pete, we've left him equipment. We've left him some elements, basically, and some of the assets that we had. Some of the members that we were training most likely turned now to be with them, and they are going to be training these jihadis. So they are a sophisticated group. They know what they're doing now. And unfortunately, with an open border like the policy we have, the danger is right here in our backyard right now.
It's a great point. Our own southern border wide open, and we also have refugees flooding into our country as well. What do you think, real quick, we don't have much time. We've been hearing from the Biden administration this idea of a Taliban 2.0. Maybe they'll reform. Maybe they'll want international recognition. Maybe they'll treat women well this time. Your experience with jihadis, who are they?
I wouldn't buy a word of this. They will say anything that tickles your ear until they are in power. This is going to be a slower death now to women, slower death to anyone who rises against them. Now they can cover up any of their atrocities. And the ideology is still there. Why would they change? I mean, if they change, they are basically asking the other factions to start attacking them, because the others will say, well, you're not following the rules correctly. We're going to remove you from power. So that's exactly what's going to happen.
Their propaganda will be victory, and they have no incentive to change, which means we have a legitimized terror state in Afghanistan. Fadi, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.